Hello everyone. Welcome to another session of Out of the Box Developer. I'm Hugo. I'm gonna be the host today, and I'm happy to be here today. We're gonna have a really interesting topic regarding to Spring Modulith. That was one of I can say technique library from the Spring that I was curious about how to use it. But first, let me give quick hello to everyone here. So let's start with Chila. Hello, Chila. How are you?
Hello, Hugo. I am fine. Thank you. And you?
Great. I think I need to change my background. Everyone in a cool place. I'm only at my home. Not too cool. But while I do that, hello, hey Igor, how are you, man? Let's go clockwise.
Hi Hugo, hi Pedro, hi Sila, hi Thiago, hi everyone that is watching us. Nice to see you guys. It's a very interesting subject, especially because we were writing about that. Me and Thiago were working on a book, and we do use clean architecture there. And I want to know about the Spring Modulith. It will be very interesting to know about it.
That's
So
cool. So you're in the right place, man. And let me say hello to Pedro then. Hey Pedro, how are you?
Hello. Yeah, it's a long time no see. I was missing you guys, so that the first time I could organize myself to be here today, now I'm here and I can say that I'm established. For the one who doesn't know, I moved to Canada. Now I'm in Toronto, so I just arrived and then there's lots of things to do and organize and yeah. But it's glad to be here with you.
You're gonna have to do some session just to share your experience by moving to so abroad.
Yeah.
Probably many
sure.
things that you can share, right?
I was
man,
just
for
mentioning
sure.
it. I was just
For
mentioning
sure.
about international career, about your moving experience.
Well,
We
Yeah,
can
would be
also
awesome.
schedule a
let's get
series.
another one. The next one. Yeah.
We can
Maybe.
schedule a series, one with Pedro moving to Canada and one with Thiago moving to Portugal.
Yes. There's a lot of things.
Or a panel like with we both, right? Like talking difference between moving to Canada, moving to Portugal.
Mm-hmm.
Europe is
Yeah.
fairly different than North America.
Different challenges. Yeah, I can see
Yeah.
it.
I can
It's
share with
also
you guys as well when we schedule this kind of sessions how it was my experience. So 10 years living in Spain too. So we have a lot to discuss about.
yes, a lot
Exactly.
of experienced guys here internationally. That's cool. I see already some comments here on the chat. So I see Andres Alcaz. Hey Andres, good to see
Hi,
you here.
Andres.
If you have any question, please type here on the chat so we can also put it on the table. And let me say hello, Leslie, for Thiago that will be bringing to us the main content today, the main topic today, and then we're gonna open the discussion table. But hey, Thiago, how are you, man? I hope you are all fine.
Yes, hello, I'm great. Now I'm back to Portugal, so it's kind of a little late for me, but it's okay.
That's cool, man. Yeah, that's true. That's also a challenge, right? The time zone differences.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's the most I think most impactful. But yeah, let's just jump in. And would you like to talk a little bit about Spring Modulith before we can start sharing something on the screen, Thiago? Or do you prefer to just share here the content?
No, maybe I can just give a little introduction about what I'm going to
Cool.
show. So the agenda, it's kind of, I intend to show a little bit what is Spring Modulith, how it works, and then show a really quick demo showing how it works, how it interacts between them, how can you guarantee the decouple between the modules and things like that. So it will be a demo. And then we
Yeah.
can discuss a little bit more about, like Igor said, about clean architecture, hexagonal, and other patterns. We can discuss all of that and what is maybe the right choice.
Or at least good choices, right? But before, everyone here worked with Spring before, or still working with Spring today? I have worked.
Yeah, I do
Not
work
Yes,
with
anymore,
Spring.
Pedro. Not anymore.
So every
Sheila,
day.
are
I
you
am still working with Spring
working
Boot.
with Spring?
Yes.
Cool, cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
because for me, Spring is really powerful and broad, right? Popular solution. Lot of, especially those working with professional software or web applications. Most of them I hear of are implemented over Spring framework. And now I'm playing a bit with Quarkus, but Spring still really uh, well grounded solution for most of commercial, right, Thiago. I believe
Yes,
you use Spring also in Portugal.
yes,
Very common to
also,
see that as well.
yes, also in Brazil when I was in Brazil. So yes, Spring uh, it's huge. It's used by many
Love it.
companies, and about that, I will also share a little bit about Spring I/O that happened in May. So we have a talk for by Cora about that, about Spring Modulith. I want to share a little bit about that. But before talking about that, maybe you are, if you can put on the chat if you have used Spring, and also if you are using or if you have already used Clean Architecture or Hexagonal in your applications, it would be nice. If you have already used Spring Modulate, it will be better. I don't know because it's kind of new. I think it has a little bit more than 1 year or 1 year, if I'm not wrong. And yeah,
So I see Andres shared here that sadly I'm working with Spring Boot. But Andres, why sadly? Are you
yes.
using some old versions?
If you can share with
Yeah.
us why
Yeah.
suddenly.
Yeah. Well, I've
Yeah.
been working with Spring for a while, even in Brazilian companies and in these
Mhm.
last years with American companies as well. It's very well spread over the world. When that's well used, it's very powerful. You can use that with a lot of combinations. Of course, I got interested in Quarkus as well. I even want to bring a session here to discuss comparisons between Spring and Quarkus. That's very interesting that we start up talking about that subject. But my main experience is with Spring. We use it everywhere, and it's being used all around the US for everything. I'm experienced with with the finance world in Brazil and in the US right now, and it's everywhere. So Spring is very powerful, very reliable, a very mature framework with a lot of branches. You have all of these projects like this one that we are going to see today about the Spring Modulith. Get interesting.
Yeah. If I can say a little about Spring as well, I work on Spring a lot with my career. Actually, I started using AGB. So when Spring came out, it was like some people running from from AGB to Spring because people hated AGB. And I remember using Spring with all that XML, and we didn't have any annotations in
Any annotation?
Java, and then we had to use all that XML to do this stuff. But even so, it was even using this, it was better than using AGB. So yeah,
That's true.
time passed, and now I can see Spring Boot. That is something really, really, really good in Spring because Spring has these difficulties in configuration. We need to configure everything. Now with Spring Boot, we don't. So everything is
Yeah.
already configured by you to you, magically configured. And Andres is saying he prefers having more control over that. I mean, I'm used to simpler frameworks. When you are in a small project, it's good. When you are in a huge problem, always it's really good to have something taking care of lots of this stuff for you. So
Yeah.
I really love it to use Spring.
Yeah.
I need some Spring features here when I'm working with Python.
It's a trade-off, right? Magic, but you don't have to to worry about that as well.
Yeah,
But,
but
Yeah,
you can
but
Yeah,
override it.
I agree with you, Andrew. Some
it,
magic. Uh,
yeah, but I like Spring, at least my opinion, because Spring kind of it allow us to extend most of the things. So it applies a lot the open closed principle. So if you understand the magic, we can override and do whatever we want. So I really like Spring because of that. We can do almost everything.
Yeah, you just mentioned what I was going to say, Thiago. You can override, change its behavior, but you need to understand how the this
Yeah,
mechanic works within, how the magic works, like you just mentioned.
yeah, but
And then the plane disappears, and you start to get a manual car instead of automatic one.
yes, but because Andres, because you do not like this kind of magic, maybe you not like Spring Modulate. I hope I can show you the magic behind that, so you like it. But I don't know if I'm able to do that. I'll
Yeah,
try.
I'm gonna appreciate it, Andres. After this session, if you can comment here, what do you think about Spring Model? Would be great. I think that's all the things that we discuss on architecture, right? This trade-off of how much magic, how less magic is good or not, and it depends a lot on the team that you are working with, or the problem that you are solving, right? But yeah, Thiago, if you want to bring your content, the stage is yours, man.
Yeah, sure. Can you share my screen? Okay,
Just
great.
here, yeah.
So let me show just a little bit about Spring Module. This is the documentation. Okay, so it's pretty big. I think it's not really big. It's just a little bit. But
Can you share
what?
the link for the documentation so I can
Yes,
paste here on the
yeah,
chat?
sure, sure. Okay, so basically, what is Spring Module? It's a kind of a new architecture pattern, more focus on modules. So we have several modules, and the modules have they are decoupled between them. However, we can have two kind of things. One is we can interact between them using events. Spring Modulate provides that for us. So this is kind of a magic. We can talk a little bit about that, and I want to show how it happened. So it has this kind of uh, event. It's not event machine, but it's a kind of way to deal with the event. So it send event and receive and do this kind of message event sourcing, this kind of thing. And not only that, but it also provides a way to test and to guarantee that the modules are decoupled. However, if you want to open a module for any reason or one specific package, you can do that. And you can do that and you can create, for example, many modules and only one module that is the aggregator or the gateway that will receive the request and then we'll call the other modules and aggregate the information. So with Spring Modulith, we can do this both. And when it fits very well, well, it fits very well when we have some microservices. So if you have many microservices, it starts being hard to deal and to manage all of that, of them, and maybe all of them or some of them actually they belong to the same domain. So we can group them to a single application and break the subdomains in many modules and use Spring Modulate for that. So this is one place where I think it fit very well. uh, and it's kind of better than a single modulate because it's easier to understand using Spring Modulith than a single monolithic. So this is the documentation.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
So you said that it's good when we have microservices that's in the same domain. You can put all together. So it's actually easy to aggregate or separate Spring with application as different microservices.
Sorry, I don't know if it's my connection or yours. I lost you at the end.
Yeah, I'm asking if it's easy to transform a Spring Modulith application to a microservice one and vice versa.
Yes, it should be. Of course, it depends on you or on how are you using. But the main goal is the modules should be decoupled and independent. So you can keep a module and take it off, and it becomes a microservice. So you can deploy only this module in a new application in a new microservice and decouple it. You can do that, but of course it depends on how you are using. Because again, you can open the module and then you can do whatever you want, and
You
maybe
always
become a
can
mess.
mess up everything, right?
Exactly. Yes. So this is one example of how the modules can interact between them. And this kind of things, this documentation, this diagram, it's generated by Spring Modulith. So it's also cool that you can generate this kind of diagrams automatically. So here we have many modules: the inventory, the order, the customer, and the catalog, and the core. The core, it's open to all others, so everyone can
I have
use
a
and depend
question.
on core. You have a
These
question?
diagrams, it is implemented inside the Modulith, or it is something you can use outside Spring?
It's generated, so you can generate this diagram by calling a method. I
Oh,
can
oh,
check.
but it is a implementation of the Spring Modulith or not? It's something
Yes,
else.
yes, yes. It
Oh,
belongs
you
to
designed
Spring
it.
Modulith. Yes.
Mhm.
So okay, so this is just a simple example. This one, it's another example, and this is using the kind of gateway or aggregator pattern that we can use. So you have a single point, and this use the other modules. In this case, we can see that organization module use department, and department use employee, but we can, of course, uh, have only the gateway module communicating with the other modules. Spring Modulith provide many libraries, and these libraries provide many extensions points. And one of them is, for example, for tracing, so we can integrate it with zpicking very easy. And yeah, this is again another way of how we can use Spring Modulith. I wrote one article about about Spring Modulith, and here I can also share this link. Uh, I can share all the links later. And here, basically, I use the aggregator. So you have order and product, and the aggregator is responsible to call the both modules. And again, Spring Modulith provide this kind of way to test and to verify if the things are decoupled, and it's very simple. It's just calling a single method. So this is a test, and it's only that. I'll show later on the demo. And again, we can open and do whatever we want. So we can do something like that. This is a little bit danger because this will open everything and all the sub packets. Or we can do something like that it's the name of the interface, and this is more control way to do things. This one it's very good if you have a big application and you want to use Spring Modulith in maybe a monolith. So you want to kind of move. We can do that using this and keep things open until we refactor everything. And the documentation, it's the same thing. It's very easy. It's just something like that. This is a test, but we can do whatever we prefer. But this is a test, and then it generates this diagram. Okay, so very easy. And I was talking about Spring IO. Spring IO happened on the last one.
Can I ask some questions?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, can you go back again?
This one?
Yeah. Well, I'm seeing it's using the idea of modulings from Java 9. Is that correct? Can you go up? Because this
Yes,
is
yes. This one, yes. We need to have
packaging
this.
for there.
Yes.
So it's like what can I say? Improving what we have in Java 9, or extending. That's the idea.
Uh,
I
do you want
I,
to?
I will guess my point here, Peter, but I think modules in Java 9 is more package oriented, and this one is it's using the same package info, but it is a higher level application or this a higher level oriented. I think there's a slight difference. Why I think I don't know if behind the scene it uses something some implementation regarding to the Java modules, but I think it's library level, and this one is more application level. I don't know how there might be some gray area that they can encounter each other, but I think there's slight different uh, uh, approach. I don't know. I just
Yeah.
guessing my point
From
here.
from what I remember on the Java module, it was more related to permissions between packages, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, because it says exactly that's why I asked,
Yeah.
because we say, it's application mode type open.
Yeah.
The idea of
Above the
modeling,
package, right?
yeah, the open package, we need to put the other package uses this package, can use this package. That's why I asked, because I saw some similarities.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yes,
Uh,
but they
Okay.
kind of have,
some
as you
overlap.
said, different goals because
Mhm.
the modules from Java we use to open and close from our dependence from our libraries, right? In this case, it's more oriented to the packets.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, that was one of the questions that I would ask, but yeah, that's something we can let. I will let you finish the Spring Modulith part, but
Uh,
I was super excited with the features that you just presented.
okay,
Really
great,
awesome.
great. I'm going to show in the demo right now these features and also the events that I have not shown here in the documentation. But moving on, again, this was from Cora. It happened on Spring IO on May. So here, I can also share this link. I think it's useful for those who want to go deep. It's a good presentation. She explains a lot about that, about Spring Modulith. And here, of course, it's from Spring team, so they will tend to give more points to Spring Monolith Modulith. But as you can see here, these are the difference. So for a microservice, we can have many benefits like selective scalability that we do not have on the others. We cannot scale a single module. This is not possible. So this is still one big benefit from microservices. However, it's also very used to see some couple of microservices, so maybe three that belong to the same domain, that they usually scale at the same time. So if you have something like that, maybe going to a modular architecture, it's better. fit uh, best, and we can avoid, for example, this Git repo sprawl that we have several. With microservices, have several, many repos, and this is really hard to deal. And also, it's hard to deal with the infra, the resource. It more expensive
Pipelines.
pipelines, yes, and it's more expensive to have 10 microservices than a single
Versions.
modular because I don't know uh, if Andres are using Spring Native or not. If it's not, just to start a Spring Boot application, it's kind of uh, 200 to 300 megabytes. So using the modular architecture, maybe we use less resource than having several microservices. So yeah, these are
Yeah.
only some benefits and
If this was a movie name, this would be the Return of the Monolith, right? So there is no Return of the Jedi here, the Return of the Monolith. So this is interesting how things get. So before Monolith was a mess and microservice was the goal and all, but now that microservices get so mature, its problems has appeared really clear, like they have listed some of them. Then we started to look that maybe not too granular, but not too monolith. I believe this is where they start to go with this modular monolith, right?
yes, yes, exactly.
I,
Because
yeah, go ahead.
on the beginning, maybe microservice it's good because you have small things decoupled, they work fine. However, if you start making more and more and more microservices, then to uh, keep all of that, it's not easy at all.
Yeah,
So
and it's very expensive, as you
Yes,
mentioned.
yes, for sure.
I I have opinion here, but yeah, please don't. It's opinion. Don't throw tomatoes on me. But yeah, I think the first idea of microservices, it was to organize the domains and separate things to be able to decouple stuff when it is not needed anymore, or add things without having to break something else. So avoid this spaghetti code, right? That you don't have this well-defined uh, and encapsulation or well-defined domain, well-defined context of some specific components. And we went too far by decoupling in the infrastructure level, and now we are going back to decoupling and defining better in a single application level, but defining better these limits of the of our application, right? We don't need to be on infrastructure level separation. We just need to be more organized inside a single application. I think most of cases fall in this case. Some cases, of course, like the selective scalability might make sense, but not all the cases, right? like everyone went crazy to separate everything in microservices and want to be a single pipeline, a single CI/CD, a single infrastructure VM, and a single stuff to work. Uh, yeah, and I think that's where I see where modular monolith falls. It's really interesting to see this being implemented.
Yeah,
Yeah, and you mentioned spaghetti code. This is where these frameworks like Spring and Quarkus shines. They really help us to get things organized, and then you follow a pattern. Even when you don't know about all about that pattern, you're just using that. You'll be implementing lots of stuffs from that pattern, and your code will be organized, much more organized if you don't use anything of that.
depends. There are god class,
Ah, yeah,
unfortunately.
God classes. Yeah, God classes. That's a problem. A single tone, God class.
Yeah,
I think Andres also agree about this separation, and I see he shared here LLM, long life monolith. And yeah, okay, cool, great. Thanks, Andres, being here with us.
Yes, yes. This point, this last one, this last message, totally agree. We do not need microservices for having a well-defined architecture. And yeah, and the
Yeah,
opposite is also true. Having microservice does not guarantee that you have a well-defined architecture. So
that's true.
this is
Yeah,
Yeah,
also true.
it
Yeah.
can really become a mess.
Yes. Okay, so get to the end. So here we have the Zipkin. She shows the demo. I'm not going to show observability and Zipkin, but Spring also provides tracing for the modules. And this is the last one, but just to show that it was released on August, so kind of 1 year ago. Tomorrow will make 1 year, right? Will be 1 year from tomorrow. And they released a release on May 25 that was close to the Spring I/O event. So Cora talks a lot about this version 1.2. Okay, great. I'm going to show now some code. I hope it will work. Can you see my screen right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, great.
maybe you can uh,
Explain a little
zoom a
bit.
bit zoom a bit the size
Much
of the font.
better.
Yeah, I think it's cool.
Okay. Okay, so what you have here, okay, we have two modules. We have the stock and the product. And each module can have whatever type of architecture that we want. So here I'm trying to be really simple. So I have like MVC. We are doing the things easier here. We have a controller, repository, serves, domain, and one folder for the events that I'm going to explain a little bit about it. So what happened? First thing is when you add Spring Modulith, let me show here. When we add that, we have actually we first add this dependency management. I really like Spring because of that, because Spring provides many BOM. So we have this bit of material that they manage the versions for us. And Spring Modulith has several libraries. So these are some of them. So we have this for test. We have uh, these for moments. I'm going to explain a little bit. We have this one for JPA. So I choose JPA, but I can use another type of database like NoSQL to store the events. So it will store the events in a database. Uh, and you have the core, that it's of course the core, the most important thing about Spring Modulith. So if you are not using events, we do not need these both. Okay, in our case we are using events. If you are using like the gateway that I talked before, maybe you do not need the events, so you do not need these two dependencies. Okay, so going to the code, what you have here. So we have a controller, and this controller will create. We have an endpoint to create a product, and then another one to get the product. What happens is when we create the product, we will publish an event, and this event will be listened to by the stock module. So stock module will be listening to this event. So you have a event listener for this uh, event. And here I have just a simple if statement to try to fail and show you what happened in case of failure. Okay, so we have this uh, random here, and then I just create a stock after someone creating the product. I create a stock with one product. Okay, really simple thing. Okay, great. I'm going to call the APIs just so we can see how these events works and also see the database and how things works. So first thing, let's create the product. Actually, first thing, let's start the application. I think this is the first thing. Okay, so we have the application up. So let's run it. So let's see. Okay, so in this case, you have an error. No problem. So let's go back. What happened is this annotation, okay, this belongs to Spring Modulith, and it has two things. The first one is a sync, and other one transaction that requires a new transaction. So what happened is the product was totally successful. We created the product, even though we have the error. Okay, so in this case, as you can see here, we have this product. So if I call, I call this endpoint to get the product, we have the endpoint, the product here. So it works. We have our product. However, we do not have the stock yet because the event failure. So if you see the database, I'm going to open the database. I hope you can see. So here, let me see if I, okay. So here we have the product, it works. However, we do not have the stock yet. We have this event publication. This table is created by Spring, okay? So it's kind of a magic. Sorry about that, Andres, but Spring do that for us. There is this kind of thing and the details on the documentation. It's up to us, okay? If you decide to not create this and create it manually, it's also fine. It also works. It's done by properties, like everything in Spring Boot. So okay, so we have this event. We have this is the event, the product, this class, this one. Okay, so we have this information. That is this information. Okay, it just create a JSON with the informations that belong to our event. And okay, and the completion date is null because it does not work. So what happened? Okay, and this is why you have this moment dependence. What happened is Spring Modulith is more oriented to moments than cron expressions. Cron expression it's one thing that everyone here knows. But if you do not know cron expression, it's an expression that you can use some kind of pattern to define when it will be executed, and we can do whatever you want. So it will be executed every hour or first Monday on July or whatever you want on Christmas and whatever. We can do whatever you want. It's very powerful. However, Spring Modulith brings this kind of moments that it's more oriented to domain events. So, for example, we have a billing cycle that happen every I don't know the first Friday of every month. It is executed and do something, or I don't know, every month or every whatever, every X. It does not. It depend on the domain event. So we have this kind of these moments. I can show the documentation if you wanna understand a little bit more. And there is also in the documentation from Spring another link that talks more about that. And I think it's very cool to read and understand a little bit. But okay, so what happened is our event will be processed on the next hour, and we are not going to wait 1 hour for that. So what happened? I do also have here in the properties to try to republish the event on the restart. So I'm going to restart the application, and if I'm lucky, it will work, and we will process this event. Okay, so let me rerun the application, and let's see. Okay, so we are lucky, and it works. So if I see the event, it is processed, and the stock was created. So great,
Okay.
it's working. Before we go into questions and discussions,
Go ahead.
answering some probably questions that you might have. So these events, we can also export these kind of events to maybe Kafka, to another broker. Okay, so other applications can also listen to these events. We can do that. Spring Modulith does also provide libraries for observability, so we can integrate it with Zipkin, and it's very easy. And yeah, I think it's that. I don't know if have any more questions. Otherwise, we can also discuss about other architecture patterns and the drawbacks between them.
Well, I have
Yeah,
lots of questions over Spring Modulith, but go ahead. I will let Pedro, you raise it.
yeah. I would ask about the modules itself. So how to best divide them. So I see here
Mm,
just dividing by package,
yeah,
but I see this event that are sent, they are using the class from the other module, right?
yes, yes. This is a really good question because I haven't shown this thing. So we have these modules verify, and also there's documentation. I'm going to run that, and then I'm going to answer your question. Okay. So if you run that, the first thing here, the verify, we just verify if uh, the the packets are respecting each other. It's not violation. They are decoupled, and it generates this docs folder. So here we can see in this case that stock modules listen to product, and the module from the product it does not have nothing. It is it by itself, and the same for the actually stock listen, right? So yeah, we have this kind of coupling. And
The
how?
company is different, so the product doesn't know anything. It
Yes,
just fires an event.
just fires, and the stock listen to product event. So what happened here? How it works? So we have this verify, and basically what happened is everything that belongs to this folder, like the iProduct service, this class can be shared. Okay. In my case, I'm not sharing this class, but for example, if I bring this one, product service, and I try to use it here. So if I have something like that,
You will probably have a violation there, right?
yeah, it should be. So in this case, I have an error because I have a violation. However, if I use the iProduct service that belongs to this one, I have to use it also here. Okay. So in this case, it should work. Okay. So I can have this kind of things. But you can ask, oh, okay, and how about the events? Because the event is in a specific folder, right? I don't not have the event here. So what happened is, in this case, I have the named interface. Okay. So because I have this named interface, I can use this event in the other modules.
So in this name interface says, oh, this package this package has events, so these events can be accessed by
It, yes,
outside.
the name, I can be anything I want. Okay, but in our context here, the event, I'm saying that this package, it's a named interface, and this means that it can be used by the other modules. Okay.
Enabled interface.
And only this one. So if I have a sub package, it will not work.
You have to declare on the sub packages.
Yes, or make it open, and of
Okay.
course, it has
Wow.
drawbacks. I don't
Yeah,
know,
that's
Pedro, if this answers your question.
but
No, it is.
maybe what Pedro asked, we can achieve that with the Java modules. Where I don't know if inside the same package. Yeah, we can, right? We can define this access.
Not that easy.
Not as easy.
And especially not verifiable like that.
Yes. I think that's
But
possible.
actually, in terms, if you think about Java models, it has lots of drawbacks. I think probably Spring Modulith works on that, and and it's different, right? Because you couldn't do this thing, right? It will be like it will have a compiler error if you use Java models for that.
Yeah, I just had Java modules experience with by importing from other libraries, so I don't even
Mhm.
can even see the classes. So I don't know how it
Yeah,
works when I do define
yeah.
inside
That's
the
the thing.
same project, right?
It's,
So I can actually see, but maybe the compiler don't see. I'm not sure, but yeah,
mhm. And it will not be in the same project like that, like just
yes.
using that.
But I see that this verifiability, it's one of the most interesting feature. Otherwise, when I have to do something, I see some libraries like ArcMate. I think it was something like that. I don't remember very well the name, but it was actually to constrain this. How can I say? When you access something that you shouldn't, right? You see things that you can see, and you import dependencies that you shouldn't. So, but you have to add something else, and having it already inside here, and just by adding this kind of test and verify, and that's just it. Well, that's amazing. That's a fitness function of this uh, evolutionary architecture, right? It's a fitness function that will guarantee that you're gonna be okay with this. You're gonna avoid the spaghetti code that you just add. Someone that didn't know that just added or just imported the class on a wrong package, right? Well, that's really cool.
And because you are talking about this verify, because I do also like this a lot, we can also use Arc unit. So if you have your project and you do not want to use Spring Modulith, but you want to have, for example, you have a Spring microservice, maybe you are using MVC, and you want to have things organized, and if you want to have a test to guarantee that, for example, I don't know, we cannot have a dependence of the repository on the controller, or the domain cannot have a dependence of the service, something like that. If you want to have these kind of things, we can use Arc unit. And because I'm talking about this verify, we can also integrate Spring Modulith with JMolux. So if we do these kind of things, if you add these dependencies, okay, we can use JMolux. It bring for us many annotations. In this case, it's more oriented to DDD. So we can use, if I'm not wrong, we can use this domain event. This one belongs to JMolux. And we can use other annotations. This is for the event, but you can use, of course, the DDD. So we can use all of these annotations. and do the verification using these kind of annotations. So inside Spring Modulith, here, going a little bit deep. So Andres, I'm trying to show here the magic, how it works. I think it's this one. So here we have this if statement. So if there is the JMolux, so it checks if there is this kind of thing. It applies the validation from JMolux arc unit thing. So these JMolux have this arc unit integration and do this kind of evaluation.
Mhm.
And just to curiosity, the author from Spring Modulith does also contribute to JMolux. Okay, this does not belong to Spring, but the author that it's a Spring developer, very well known, he does also contribute to JMolux. So this is why we have this kind of things working
He
very
really
well.
likes modules.
I can show maybe here. Let me show it on my screen.
Yeah, I think it was Arc
Just
Unit.
to give a simple idea. So we have this kind of thing. So this is
Yeah,
the
the
contributor,
Oliver.
Uh-huh.
yes, from Spring and also this JMolux. So yeah, so you have this kind of thing. So you can do this kind of annotations, the annotations for entity, and this is another way to do things. We can do many annotations to the entity, and it's not entity from JPA, it's the entity from JMolux, and this identity is the same thing, the ID. So yeah, it has another way to work, and this is DDD, but there's also others. I showed DDD, but there are also other type of architectures. So DDD, I don't know where it is, but here, onion layered, CQRS,
KRS.
hexagonal.
Hexagonal.
So yeah, so we can also use these other dependence. Here.
Yeah, looks awesome. I have a question about it, about the Spring Modulith for you, Thiago. And how does it detect that you have these two different modules? You have to define them, or just by declaring in different packages and creating these
Uh,
interfaces, it just gets the
it-
quantity of modules you have?
yes, by default, every package that we have here on the main folder, it will be considered a new module.
I
Okay,
see.
so here it's one module, another one. I can have many others. Okay.
Okay, just by creating packages, it just
It-
stands that it's a new module. So that's the way of working with this kind of architecture if you're using it, right?
Yes, this is the default. If I'm not wrong, it's possible to define another folder, like, for example, can create a package modules, and everything inside these modules will be considered. Uh,
Okay.
I'm not 100% sure, but I think there is this way if you want. And also, you can also create a module, for example, core, and define that core is shared by our other modules. Okay, so all modules can access core or common or whatever you want.
Great. Great. Sounds very
I
interesting.
there's some lots of comments actually here on the chat. I just want to bring here so we can interact. Yep. The Jeder Rodrigues, very nice project. I will look close the next day. Um, Andres Ock has shared about the plant UML. I think it's used behind
The plugin.
the plugin.
Ju-
Yeah.
just about the last comment, I've shared one article in my personal blog if you wanna follow, and I intend to post another one. The last one that I post, I use Spring Modulith, more oriented to uh, for to having a gateway, so using the aggregator pattern and not using events. However, the next one I will show a little bit more details, theoretical things about this application. Also, this link of this application, I will share it on the article that I'm going to share. I think I can
Cool.
also give you this link. Just give me a
Yeah.
second.
The repository.
Yes, this repository it's on the out of the box GitHub. So
Oh, cool.
uh,
Thanks.
we have our organization and we have a repo there. I can share the link. And the idea it's also to create more demos about other cool stuffs. So maybe who knows, the next one we can talk a little bit about not the next one, but on the near future talk about Spring Native or Crack or ways to make the startup faster and also reduce the footprint. So yeah.
That's cool, man.
Oh, that's great.
So Jether, if you want to see the code, we're gonna be sharing here and out here. Thanks, Thiago. Let me
You're
share this
welcome.
link.
And
Thanks, Joe.
if you like it, please give it a star in the repo. And if you find any issue, please open a PR. You'll be glad to have contributions.
Fantastic. Yep. So Andres also shared here this is more granular than Java Java modules, and more specific. Uh, Jeter told here he liked the EDA and the diagrams, right, based on the entities domain events. That's cool. Yeah. So let's see if we have more questions
Yeah,
here.
yeah. This one, okay. This one is it's good because I don't know if you wanna discuss a little bit about that event driven architecture because I don't know. I have some kind of concerns about having this event driven architecture. I don't know. I like that Spring manage this kind of things. It creates the table. It do this manage that. We have the domain event. We have this kind of things. I think this is cool. However, I don't know, having a single application that is managed by events. I don't know. What do you think? I don't know if you want to discuss a little bit about that, but I think it's kind of
Go
more
ahead.
things
Kind of.
to yeah
You can
it's
complete.
more things to deal with. So you need to manage that. You need to
Yeah, it is.
track these kind of things. Because, for example, let's say that event start failing, and it start failing and it will fail forever. You need to have some kind of application to manage that, to track that. We have to have some kind of observability for it. Pedro, do you wanna share something?
Yeah. Of course, there is something we can discuss in terms of event driven because when you think when you're in a Microsoft world, you have events going through and different microservices. When you have different microservices, you have different processes, you have different places to different. How can I say different process run, and then they are running completely separated. You can't see this working. They are they are completely asynchronous, right? In this case here, as far as I understood, they can be synchronous, right? So you you publish an event, but it's running in the same process, right? It's not
In
fighting
this,
another thread to do
in
that.
this case,
Yeah.
no, it's asynchronous.
Yeah,
It's
it's all.
asynchronous.
But how the error was seen in the request?
It was not on the request. I was
Yeah,
able to create the. No, I was able to create the product, and this event was not. We have an error. So in our case, the stock entity was not created. Only the product entity.
and the request was returned
Successful.
before.
Yes. Two
Oh,
one zero. 211.
200.
Yes,
Okay.
created.
Okay, got
201.
it. Well, it could because we are running the same place, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, because having these kind of things, it's another application that you need to manage the events. And yeah,
Oh yeah. Of
I
course,
don't
if
know.
you can easily lost yourself
I,
in
I think
where these events are going.
I
Yeah.
think we are always solving a problem and creating another one. So this is why IT never ends and always having open
Mhm.
opportunities, jobs,
Yeah,
because
but of course, in terms of the debugging, it will be much easier to debug and say, oh, I'll send an event, I put the breakpoint there, and
yes, for
I
sure,
can
for
get
sure.
there.
If you
Because
compare with two microservices, it's of course this one it's much easier to deal and to debug than having two microservices with a Kafka, for example. Yes, for sure.
yeah,
I understand that it uses the event on the first place just being, how can I say, um, today I'm getting lost with the words, but it is an upfront decision because it means that if you want to take out it outside this Spring Modulith instance and put it somewhere else, you still asynchronous, so you're gonna be okay with that, and you're gonna still work because you have this all the connections in the middle, and it can fail and so on. So I think that's the main reason or main benefit or of just using a sync, because I don't know what this programmer can put this module afterwards.
Yeah, and just to mention that, Hugo, I would like to ask something. Here, I would. I'm trying to see the benefits of making these events between the models, because when you have different microservices, you just send a call to another service, and you have to respect its contract and it all, and the other service is in charge of doing that side, right? And here we are doing asynchronous calls within the same application, right? Would this be kind of the benefit of I've seen that a lot in some services, microservices that is pushing a message into a queue to be the producer and the consumer on its own? Would be this kind of the case to have this retry reliability like you just showed us in the first attempt when you were demoing the application? And resuming, the question is, what is the benefit of having these asynchronous events between these models, even if they are in the same application?
Decoupling.
Decoupling.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is because the big benefit of using architecture pattern is that, right, we have high cohesion and low coupling. This is the main thing about all the architecture patterns. So if you use clean, uh, hexagonal or whatever, this is the main goal, right? Having these kind of things. And how it does that, it's by using events. So like Pedro asked on the beginning, if you want to grab this module and put it in a new application and start it as a microservice application, we can do that without many effort because it's kind of decoupled.
Also, you just answered my question. This was if this could be handled, each of these modules, if these could be handled as a
But
separate application. But yeah, it seems to
but
be right.
but again, we can and we cannot use that. It's up to us. So again, I show the dependencies. If you do not want to use the events, we can do that. And we
Yeah,
can also have this here, for example, private final
declare
iProduct.
the
Yeah,
interface, right?
yes, I can have this iProduct and use it here. And then
As
in
a
our case, it
dependency,
will be
right?
the opposite, right? It will be the opposite. But I think we got the idea.
Yeah,
Sounds awesome.
and you can always simulate if you don't want to use some other thing that will manage your events. You can always use something else as a mediator in the middle, so it will create this decoupling effect for you, right? You don't have to know the other side that would be receiving the events.
Yes.
And even if the application dies in case it is running, the queue is kind of saved in that magic table you showed us, the events
Yep.
table, right? So it will resume. You just put a property in the application, then it just tries to push the events again. So that's a very interesting option if you don't wanna make usage of any external queue. You don't need that. That will be extra costs. You can use these events, internal events.
Yes, and for those who want to use, I think it's very cool because do it manually, it's very hard. If you wanna use a queue in your database, it's not so easy because you need to deal with concurrency, race conditions, these kind of things, and having a Spring managing that, it's very cool.
It's a nightmare. I've dealt with that a lot of times. A lot of microservice. So it's much better to have something like this.
Yeah.
I want to
And
bring here Andres commented a thing. I think it's interesting when we were discussing about the packages access, the access level of the packages we can use. We can start using, not making public things that we wouldn't like to be exposing outside. Um, yeah, that's true. I don't know if there's any thoughts regarding to that. If instead of using those package info, we can just base use it on define the access level with the within the members or the classes that that are accessible only on the package because we have these package protected keywords. It's the same effect.
Uh, yeah, I think I got Andres questions. If you have this default, right? Not question, but comment. If you have this default, it's like you said. So if you do not have the public, it will be the default and it will not be exposed. So if you have a library and this library does not have any public class, you are not able to use anything, right?
Oh, but if we
Unless,
use
but it's not 100% safe, right? Because you can have a package with the same name, and
oh, oh
then
yeah,
it
that's
will break. But yeah,
oh, but I
that's
think it means when if I have this product and stock separated and everything inside product, we do define. Oh yeah, the level
uh,
is different.
uh,
Okay, yeah, the
but
package
but
level is different. Yeah.
but I think he's talking about Java modules, not.
Oh, the Java module. Okay.
Yes, I think maybe I'm wrong. Andres, if
Yes,
you wanna.
not with models he mentioned.
Yeah, can you clarify your question here, maybe?
I think he was commenting about Java modules. So
Mhm. Okay, okay. So he shared here. With modules, you cannot write class in the same package than in a library. Okay, yeah. Uh,
Great, guys. So it was very interesting. Thanks a lot for bringing it, Thiago. It was completely new to me about that. And it's interesting to see how monoliths did not die. They are still here. And we start to see these components, how to bring them into real world production without getting the mess of the old traditional monolith. No one wants that again, and we are aware of all of the pain that happens when you do not have a well established microservice architecture. That's why I believe they are getting to this middle point, and seeing that it's very interesting. It's very interesting too. A very interesting subject. Thanks for bringing it, Thiago. It was really great.
Yeah, I can say the same tab. It's really awesome. I looking at it, it's very good to have something to enforce some architectural functions when you're writing a monolith. It's pretty cool because we know it's easily turned to a mess. So we have worked with monoliths before, and having something that helps us to not allow us to do this big mess we can always do. It's really cool.
One question: how mature is this Spring Modulith framework? If I want to use it, can I use it in production, or is it changing a lot?
okay. This is a really good question. So, like I showed before, Spring Modulith completes 1 year tomorrow. So it's
Mhm.
quite
oh,
new,
happy
quite
birthday.
new.
Happy
Yeah,
birthday, Monolith!
yes, it's kind of
That's
new, but I think it's very mature. Okay,
Mhm.
so if you wanna use, I think it's no problem. It's the version it's 1.2.2, the last one, if I'm not wrong. So I think it's very mature to use. I think that the most important thing is check if it fits well in your use case, because I
Mhm.
think
Right.
this is the maybe the most important thing that we can learn from ourselves or from others, that it's when the microservice starts, everyone wants to use microservice and microservice everywhere, and now we see that this is not the solution. So I think this is the same. We need to see and understand if it fits well for our use case. So if have well-defined domains that can be broken on modules, and you have a very well-defined use case for it. So if you want to use the events or if you want to use the aggregator, you need to think about what do you want to use, why do you want to use Spring Modulith, and if it fits well in your use case, great. Otherwise, don't use it only because it's becoming a hype. This is my advice.
That's cool, man, and that's great advice. I just remember here too, for you that is here in Brazil and read Portuguese, Brazilian Portuguese. I just bought this, just get this book here. Oh, it was. I think I have to take out the background. No, okay. The domain-driven design, but the distilled one from
You know,
Von for Vernon. So it's well known also, and it it just released the Portuguese version of many of the books that is considered references on our field. So I will just suggest everyone to take a look on the Amazon, or there are other places selling it. It is in a nice price because here in Brazil, at least, it's very expensive, these books to buy from outside. And yeah, I think that fits a lot with the discussion today, of what Thiago just mentioned about having the understanding of the use cases, and if it fits or not. And yeah, Thiago, thanks a lot with the examples. I think bring lots of discussions. I think we had less time to discuss. I wish to discuss more, but yeah, we are already on time. So I just want to thank everyone that watched us, and hit like if you like it. Hit like if you hit the start if you like the Thiago's blog and the GitHub repository, and we're gonna keep bringing some more content. So thanks a lot. Thanks everyone.
Don't
Thank
forget to
you.
subscribe, guys. Thanks to see you.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
all.
Bye.
Thank you.
Yeah. Bye bye.